Hey, folks, I'm Matt Masur from Growth Mode Content. Honored to be here one more time, guest co hosting the details in the deal with my incredible friend, Christine. How are you, Christine?
Very well, thank you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well.
Good.
You know what? I get very excited when you ask me to join you on this because this is like the best source of news that I get on the local business happenings. So I appreciate you having me along for the ride here.
Thanks, Mike. Not everyone likes real estate, and I know that you do, and that helps, I think, to keep things spot on
It does.
and to bring things current. And I love that you're so interested in it.
Yeah, yeah.
We're both kind of real estate geeks, right?
Right, right, and, who knows, maybe on the next podcast, we'll have something exciting for us to both announce, but
I would love that.
before that, deep tease, let's,
Stay tuned.
let's jump into what's been happening with you. What's going on here in the company?
The day after Labor Day, my phone started to really ring. I try to push things along as much as possible in the summertime because the weather is better and it
Yep,
seems like it's easier to get people to come to upstate New York then. But August gets quiet. A lot of people are looking at your
100%.
steam, getting ready for the kids to go back to school. The day after that Tuesday, the day after Labor Day, I couldn't believe how my phone rang and emails and they're just ready to rock and roll.
Yeah,
And that's really exciting. I think they see the things that are going on in our marketplace and I have people who've never made investments in this area. I had a meeting with someone last Saturday who said, I hear what's happening and I want to invest in the marketplace.
that's
And
awesome.
that just made me very, very happy.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really good to have new people, as well as, of course, all the established people that are growing like crazy too. But there has been, I think the busiest early September I've ever seen.
that's, you know what, in our business, have experienced the exact same thing, and I've said this a few times, I feel like we don't realize how much we've all been conditioned by school.
Yes.
I feel like even us as adults, no matter how long you've been graduated, we're still on that school schedule. So we still are just sort of go into that summer vacation mode. And, the second the kids go back to school, even for people who don't have kids going to school, the second the kids go back to school, it's like back to business. And it's like a light switch.
And you see the difference in the community and the traffic and, just the nerve centers of the area
Yeah.
just get so busy. And it's a different kind of vibe than it is in August. I will say that we spent a lot of time on the St. Lawrence River this summer, and it was fabulous.
Oh, that's great.
We worked from up there, did what we needed to do, but also took some time. And if anyone hasn't been to the St. Lawrence, I could really recommend it. It's a very special place.
It's incredible. You do any fishing?
Didn't do any fishing, went
No.
out on boats a couple of times.
Yeah.
I have a cousin who has a fabulous fishing charter, if anybody's looking,
Oh,
I'll
wow.
give him a little plug.
Yeah.
And, let me know if you need the information, and he's bringing some major league fish in, and people have really been enjoying it.
I didn't even know we were going to go there. Now I want to take you up on that. I want to
Go
go on this fishing
okay.
trip.
I will
Uh,
I will make a note to send you the information.
let's reel it in a little locally.
Uh,
Um,
he cracks himself up.
I do more than anyone else. Um, uh, Talk to me a little bit more. You started to touch on it a little bit, but talk to me a little bit more about, what you're seeing in terms of people being very interested in our region, primarily because of the Micron deal.
Yes. Micron is in every conversation,
Yeah.
it seems like, and if it's not, it needs to be, because it's gonna make such a big difference. For people who might not be familiar, just a little recap, Micron is a memory chip maker. They're proposing to invest $100 billion just on north of Syracuse, in a suburb north of Syracuse, and, it's predicted to bring in 40,000 employees between what Micron will have and what their suppliers will have.
It's incredible.
They're saying it's the biggest thing to happen in this area since the Erie Canal.
Yeah.
And, at this point, they're the only US makers of these kind of chips, which
Hmm.
will be used for AI and for, um, memory chips and
Yep.
other types of technology. So I think that's the big player.
Yeah.
And we're opening businesses, we're opening entertainment facilities. People are coming to town. Earlier this year, I leased to a roofing company from Buffalo who had never had a presence in Syracuse. Now you see their signs everywhere.
Yeah.
So I think that's exciting, and and it's only beginning.
Right.
Right. We tend to be a show me kind of area,
Yeah.
and they're they're going to break ground probably next month, November, I should
Yep.
say. And that's exciting.
Yeah.
They've already started putting some of the infrastructure in. The financing is there. They chose a contractor. We talked about it in the last
Yes.
podcast, I believe. And it's going to happen.
Yeah. 100%.
Yes. So that's really exciting. And then we're seeing some of the development sites that are being planned in different parts of the county starting to come alive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Christine, what's sort of your prediction? Because I think you're absolutely right. There's as much buzz as we've seen. I think there's a lot of folks that are waiting for that shovel to hit the ground. When it does, what's that going to be like? Is it going to be a tsunami? Is it going to be people you waited too long and now you're out of luck? What do you expect to happen then?
I expect that there'll be a little bit of both,
Yeah.
depending upon what you're looking for. So if you're a supplier coming into town for industrial buildings, for example, they've been selling like crazy. And I think a lot of it has been investors who are playing the market. They're waiting. They know they're going to get a good tenant, or they're going to flip it. I think if you're looking for housing, it's going to be a little tighter.
Yeah.
Our housing has been fairly flat over the last few years. We really do have a housing crisis.
Yeah.
And so we need to build multiple times of what we've been building in the past. So there will be people coming in and saying, "Where am I going to live?"
Yeah.
And I think that'll boom the hotels. A place like a Residence Inn or long term, we'll see some people living there
Yeah.
more than they have in the past. So and we'll figure it out.
Sure.
But the towns and the municipalities are really going to have to loosen up some of their rules in order to
Yeah.
the housing, because we're going to need it. We won't have any choice.
Right.
And I know the county executive, you had him on your show
Yeah.
a few weeks ago. I know he's really encouraging that.
There was an initiative, and I don't believe it initially passed. But with the idea, maybe you can expand on this a little bit. The idea of taking an existing property, an existing house with a piece of land, and being able to put a smaller home on the same lot.
Yes.
Is there a term for that? I know it's kind of a trend that they're trying to pass here.
It's more like an in-law apartment, so
Okay, yeah.
it's a more attached than detached, I would
Gotcha.
say. And I think that will be a trend. As people age, they're
Sure.
going to need help, and they're going to need places for people to get a break.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to, families are now living through multiple generations.
Right.
I mean, until my grandmother passed a few years ago, we had 5 generations in Syracuse.
Yeah.
That's unheard of.
Sure.
We now have 4, which is still a lot, but
Yeah.
not as unheard of.
Right.
And so we need to take care of our people. And so more and more families, I think, will be living together, both for practical reasons and for economic reasons,
Sure.
perhaps too. Nursing homes are very expensive.
Yeah.
And senior care is very expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it used to be that people did take care of their families.
Sure.
So I think we might come back to some of that.
That's awesome.
Yes. But I think that, uh, there's setback limits, as far as how much of your property you can use for
Right.
buildings. And there's a lot that were probably designed with good intentions.
Yep.
But times have changed.
Yeah.
And people are looking for more density.
Right.
For example, we at the place that we rent up in the Thousand Islands on the St. Lawrence, we're living in basically a condo type community.
Gotcha.
Although attached homes, some detached. Homeowners association. We've never lived in anything like that before, but we love it.
Yeah.
So people can change as they age, I think,
Uh-huh.
and what their needs are, and
That's
we're also
great.
finding that we can live in a lot less space than we thought we would want to live in.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I think people will have more options.
That's great. So Christine, let's talk about a little bit of what else is going on around the region here. We got a lot of different projects and things. What's happening?
There's so much going on, which is very exciting, of course. The Cameron Group, who developed the Township 5 in Camillus
Oh yeah.
Shopping Center, which they have a housing component to it also. Great movie theater, lots of restaurants.
Yeah.
And this is in the western suburbs of Syracuse, just outside of Syracuse. Very big and strong school district, and they need housing desperately. They're planning to build 175 housing units
Wow.
and 50,000 square feet of commercial space. So that will be a big development for that area.
And this is more adding to that township
In that general,
complex campus, whatever we want to call it there.
if you look at the picture, there's apartments sort of on the hill behind, and they'll be adding. They haven't announced exactly where all of it's going to go yet,
Gotcha.
but it will be around there, and they do a nice job. They're a
Gotcha.
class builder, and 10% of it will be for workforce housing, which I think we're going to see that name a lot more. Those words a lot more. So there's different types of housing. there's market rate classic housing, which you and I might think about. There's subsidized housing where people are given actual voucher subsidies
Sure.
and sometimes directly paid to the landlord. And then there's workforce housing where your rent is adjusted based upon what you pay, what your earnings are.
Really?
Yes. So the median income for Onondaga County is $75,000. Here, 10% of the workforce, 10% of the housing will be set aside for people who make less than that.
Really?
Yes. So they'll be able to have good, decent housing and not have to pay market rent.
I don't know that I've ever heard that term before, workforce housing.
Workforce housing, you're going to see it a lot.
Yeah.
It's a component of an awful lot of housing that's being built today. In the city of Syracuse, you have to set aside, if you're going to build more than, I think it's 30 units of housing.
Yeah.
I'll double check that for you. But if you were going to build more than that, you have to set aside a certain percentage.
Well, I know I've heard the term affordable,
Right.
which everybody knows what is affordable, but
And that's relative.
yeah.
Right. What's affordable to you and I might not be affordable
Right.
to others. And that goes up and down the food chain, as they say. But I
That's
think we're going to see
interesting.
a lot more of that. And I think more and more the municipalities may be requiring that as they approve their projects too.
That's incredible.
Yes.
Is that so when you say workforce, I'm still thinking a little bit Micron too, and I'm thinking about the workers who are coming for that, who might not want to sign a 1-year lease or something like that. Is there some of this temporary sort of rentals for those folks in the mix of any of these things?
There is. I think that we're used to 1-year leases in the marketplace, but I think that there will be a fewer of those. Also, there's a project that's been proposed at the old Lafayette Country Club.
Okay.
And in there, they are actually proposing to have rental houses, which you don't
Oh,
see a lot around
yeah.
here. But because of the Micron project,
Gotcha.
they feel that people will want to come get to know the area. Sometimes you come into an area and maybe you've had a fast job transfer
Hmm.
and you don't really know where you want to live. And all of a sudden you've bought a house in the suburbs,
Right.
bought a house in the city, and you're committed. You spend a
Yeah.
lot of money closing on that house. And so you're not going to want to just move immediately. So this is the first time I've ever seen houses built in this area, full houses
Yeah.
to be rented. And that I think is something that we'll see more and more in the marketplace.
I agree with you. That's interesting.
And I think that some of the hotels that have been converting into apartments in the future may look at doing more of the temporary housing, more like a Residence Inn, but probably
Gotcha.
not as expensive.
A long-term hotel.
Long-term hotel. Yeah, we have a few of those in the market, but not too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes there's gaps between people closing on their homes.
Sure.
Unfortunately, divorces and changes in lives, right? And in fact, someone was just saying that changes in lives is one of the number one predictors of whether a house is going to be on the market or not.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So I think that's interesting.
Cool.
Yes.
What else we got? We got our friend Ryan Benz is
Yes. And Ryan's
involved in another project yet, right?
he has the best projects.
Yeah.
And he's so civic minded. Ryan's going to be a guest on the podcast next month or the month after.
That's awesome.
So that'll be cool. He's doing so many cool projects. But he just completed the St. Matthew's condominiums, which is the old St. Matthew's School in East Syracuse. 21 units of affordable housing. There's the word of
Yeah.
words, affordable housing. And they've received government and county level grants. So it's nice to see the governments cooperating.
Yeah.
Affordable housing and housing in general is a big priority of the governors.
Sure.
And I think she recognizes that we really do have a housing crisis, not just in upstate and central New York, but all over the state. And so this will go a long way. National Grid has provided some discounted services and
Oh, wow.
subsidized services for it, and it'll be available to people who make up to 80% of the area median income. So that will be helpful to people.
Yeah.
Right. Because it used to be the rule of thumb was 25% of your income went to rent or your mortgage. That's really crept up to more like 35 or
Oh, wow.
people. And I think for some people it's even higher.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have a little bit of a cushion there
Yeah.
and people to have decent affordable housing.
Well, yeah, I mean, decent is the part that sticks out to me. You think about it, and it's one thing for finding a place you can afford if you don't have a high budget, but it's a whole nother to have a really nice, new, remodeled, you can live with some dignity, honestly, that's great for folks. I love to see that.
My first apartment on my own, without a roommate, was a brand new property. And I remember how fresh the paint was
Yeah.
and how good it made me feel. And the refrigerator had never been used by anybody. And everything was just sparkling clean.
Sure.
And it does make you feel good.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's great. Speaking of rent,
Yes,
sounds like they're continuing to rise for a lot of folks.
they are. Oswego County, I was just announced that they have one of the highest rates of increases in rents in the country. And Syracuse is rising at about half their rate, but Oswego is up almost 11%.
W- Why?
Well, again, housing crisis, not enough housing. I think there was a Micron effect there also,
Okay.
because I believe that Oswego County is really going to see a lot of growth.
Yeah.
It's where they're going to build Micron is right on the border
Right.
between Onondaga and Oswego counties, and I think that people may be buying houses and holding on to them,
Gotcha.
or knowing that it's coming, so people are going to have to pay the higher rent.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of land out there though, and
Gotcha.
I believe that we're going to see a lot of building going on.
It's cold up there.
It's
I don't
well,
know.
it can be cold. It can be cold, but they say it's beautiful. But definitely, I think the housing shortage more than anything else, and the area has had, some economic issues in the
Sure.
past, and hopefully this is going to be really helpful to them. But I think there'll be some pain points in the meantime.
Yeah. No, that's crazy. We're also building some more apartments, 126 of them.
Apartments are amazing. They're just growing up everywhere.
That's good news.
So and it's very good news for the south side of town too, because there hasn't been a lot of investment there. We've had a real focus, and rightly so, of course, on the lakefront in the north side and in the east side, but the south side hasn't received a lot of attention. So if you know where the Price Right is on South Ave, they're planning to build 51 apartments across from there, and this is on land that was owned by the land bank.
Hmm.
Which, for those who are not familiar, land bank is typically where properties go if the city of Syracuse forecloses on your property. And so then they make them available at a reasonable rate to people for development. So this project will be for people who have 30 to 80% of the median income. So that's going to be very helpful.
Yeah.
And they will fill up spaces that have been either vacant spaces or underused buildings in the
Wow.
area.
The land banks are great, and for folks that if you're not familiar, they have those types of programs in many areas across the country.
Yes.
And it's usually it's a great price, but there is some typically conditions, right? It's not just a matter of we'll sell you this thing for real cheap. Typically, you have to have a development plan
Yes.
or even contractors attached and things, right?
You definitely have to have adult development plan, proof that you can do what you say you're going to do.
Gotcha.
You don't owe back taxes to the city. That's really important to them
Ah,
because they don't want, they take
you're not a bum somewhere else in town. Yeah.
exactly. You owe the taxes, so your third cousin came up to the auction.
Gotcha.
I'll pay $1,
I see.
whatever it was, and then it flips it back to you.
Gotcha.
And I believe there's a limit to how long you have to hold on to the property.
Oh, wow.
Because they're not looking for something like that to happen. They're really trying to provide and encourage really good property owners, whether you own the property yourself, where you live, or you're a landlord.
Yeah.
And it only benefits the community to have good community members who are invested
Right.
in the community.
Speaking of which, house flipping,
Yes.
which honestly, I feel like obviously it's happened all the while, but it seems like it was real hot, that term. Maybe there's some TV shows or something. You don't necessarily hear that term as much anymore. Obviously, it's happening all the while.
Right.
What's the news on that?
So it was very hot for a while, and I think everyone thought that who was involved thought they were going to get really rich.
You're going to be like the
being involved.
people on TV, yeah?
Exactly, and it's rarely like it is on TV.
Yeah.
Like, there's actually a commercial real estate broker who's going to have a show on A&E starting next month.
Oh, wow.
And we've all seen the New York Millionaire
Yep.
shows and that sort of thing. But this is somebody who, and those were mostly residential.
Yep.
But this is someone who's going to focus on commercial, so it'll be interesting.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. Yes, there definitely are differences in how you see
Oh,
it
yeah, yeah.
typically. So, but as far as the flipping goes, I think that did slow down. People found that they just weren't finding I'm going to say inexpensive houses
Right.
they really wanted,
The
and
diamond in the rough.
the diamond in the rough, right?
Yeah.
And there's just so much of that inventory out there.
Sure.
And also, how especially during COVID, the cost of materials really increased,
Yeah.
and that made a difference in what people wanted to do.
Oh, yeah, I imagine.
Yes, but Albany and Syracuse are rated number 5 and number 18 respectively in the United States for growth in flipping.
Wow.
And especially flipping the value of the properties. Albany's up $51,000 over last year, and Syracuse is up $22,000.
So what that means is, on average, if I were to buy a house and flip it, I would make 50 grand profit.
After your expenses.
Gotcha.
Yes. Yes. In Albany, in about
Or I guess
30.
50,000 more than I did previously.
Right. Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yes. So I think that's interesting, and the profit margins are up, because some of the building supplies have stabilized.
Sure.
Like I said, everyone was doing projects during COVID.
Yeah.
I think there were supply issues too, and transportation issues, and it was hard to keep businesses open.
Yeah.
So expenses went up for a lot of reasons.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah. So we'll watch that and see what happens, and that can be a good thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Someone who, and I think that people are very entrepreneurial today.
Mhm.
And they're not necessarily looking for the 9 to 5 job
Yeah.
that, we were brought up to have, perhaps,
Sure.
right? Many were brought up to have. And so this is all sort of I think it's all part of the gig economy, where people might have 2 or 3 different things that they're
Right.
doing. And it's not the traditional thing that I know my grandfather had, and,
I
worked the same company for 45 years.
I think it's interesting that it is flipping, and we're seeing that increase around here, because we keep hearing these stories of people buying and holding to turn into a rental rather than a flip. So it's interesting to know that people are selling these things still. So that's a good thing.
They are. I mean, they say you make your money on the buy. So
Yeah.
you're buying low,
Okay.
which is good. And then with the hope that, of course, they'll be able to sell high.
Sure.
eventually. And almost no one keeps their properties forever.
Yeah. So speaking of different types of properties and things like that, I see factory built homes are trending again, I guess we would say.
Yes, in both Syracuse and Rochester, in the last week or so, it's been in the news. Some very good people are getting involved. Cook Properties in Rochester, who's owned by a gentleman named Jeff Cook, and his big team have just been chosen by the city of Rochester to build 7 or 8 homes
Wow.
in the city. And what they will do is they will fill in where there's vacant land in the city. Often you'll find that there's been a fire,
Mhm.
or some other bad thing happened in a property, or the property just isn't worth
Yeah.
renovating. So it'll be torn down. And then, so in the middle of the block, you have this big, it's like losing a tooth,
Yeah.
they say in real estate. And you have this big property, land that's just sitting there.
Sure.
And then it can become vandalized. It can have garbage
Yeah.
in it. It's just not good for the community. So it's very interesting to see these houses being built. It's estimated that they'll cost about $100,000 less than your typical
Wow.
home in an area. And again, everything's relative as to what is
Yeah.
typical. But if you're looking at the median household house costs, it should be about $100,000 less. And I
That's
think
incredible.
it will encourage home ownership in neighborhoods.
Yeah. Well, what? When people hear manufactured homes, they first think of trailers, right? And the old single wide rundown trailer.
Yes.
And that's certainly a thing. But the reality is, these manufactured homes they build mansions. They just happen to build them in pieces in the factory and then deliver them.
Right. And they're building hotels that way today.
Yeah.
They're building all kinds of buildings that way. I think it used to be considered not to be done.
Right. Right.
Right. And so, but that's changed.
Yeah.
Right? Especially with the cost of things today. People are looking for ways to save money, and really, who knows after you put them together?
Yeah.
You can't tell the difference. And one of the pictures, it actually shows just the corner of a garage. There are building them with detached and attached garages too,
Yeah.
which you didn't normally see.
Yeah. No, it's incredible. A lot of folks will say that they, in some cases, are more durable because they're literally made to be transported and deal with that type of stress that a normal house wouldn't deal with.
Right.
And then put together quickly. Speed is the other thing.
They can put them together in a week after they arrive on
Wow.
the property, which is just amazing to me. And you're right; they have to endure travel. You see these wide loads going
Yeah.
down the road, and that's not easy on a building.
Right.
So they have to endure that, and I think it'll be very interesting to see how this helps the affordable housing
Yeah.
process.
No, it's great. I remember years when I was a little kid. They had one of these home manufacturers near where a lot of my family lived, up in Richfield Springs, out in Route 20 there. And they have the model home lot. It's basically a parking lot full of houses.
Right.
It was my mom's favorite activity, to stop and look through the new models and just see the different things they put in those. So,
That's so your real estate love comes from.
oh, 100%. Yeah. She loves, I can't tell you how many homes that she's owned, because I think she just, once she decorates it to her desire, okay, now she wants to start over and decorate a new place. So,
Oh, that's funny.
but yeah, and you used to see these things, and like I said, you think you think of a trailer park and it's not that. It's a full-blown house you wouldn't even know was made literally in a factory.
Well, and also trailer parks today are not what they used to be.
Right.
Now, are there some that are still that
Yeah.
way? Of course, but that's generally not the case anymore. Part of it because of the affordability of
Right.
them. And for example, Cook Properties owns many trailer parks, mobile home parks, I should say. Around the state. There's
Yeah.
two, I believe. And they have a fabulous reputation for maintaining their properties.
Yeah.
And to working with the tenants. I mean, often the owner of the property owns the lot, and the tenants will own, or the homeowners will own the
Yeah.
house itself. My grandparents lived in a senior community up in Central Square. I can't tell you how nice the people.
Sure.
And I think because they were all seniors, if one was down, which happens, they'd be there to mow your lawn and take care
Yeah.
of things. And I remember how comfortable my grandparents were there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can't ask for much more than that.
No, that's great. And like you said, to fill in, the need for housing is so great.
Yes.
The fact that these folks can crank them out quicker. I would think, I don't know this for a fact, but I would think the fact that is sort of indoor factory built means that they can be productive through the winter when we can't be outdoors building houses and things too. So that's got to be kind of an advantage.
Sure, you can pour the pad when the weather allows.
Yeah.
And, get some of the plumbing stubbed in and that sort of thing.
Yeah. That's great. That's great.
Yeah, it's nice to see creativity, I think, and
Yeah.
they're doing some new things and people's and changing people's perception though.
Right.
Manufactured means, I mean, Sears, which we don't talk about Sears very
Yep.
often, but Sears used to be the largest home builder in the country because they had kits.
I remember that.
And
I remember hearing about
started
that.
on Long Island, and they built homes all over. There's still a few in this market.
Yeah.
And they built homes. They didn't actually build them. They sent you the kit. And
Right.
they had it built. And times have changed, but in some ways they haven't.
Right. Right. It was wild to see that. Of course, they're very similar models. So you can see some of these sort of neighborhoods that they've built up with
Yeah.
all the Sears house,
Right. And they have endured.
Yeah.
Yes. So there's more than one way of doing something.
Wild times. We should still do that. Kit houses. I like
Kit
that.
houses,
I like that
yes.
idea. Speaking of houses, looks like we want to do something new. Do I have that down right?
Yes, I want to talk about. I want to feature one of my listings every month,
Love it.
so we can talk about it. And this is one of my favorite buildings. I think you would love this building because it's very
Okay.
creative.
I'm excited.
829-31 West Genesee Street. If you're familiar with Syracuse, this is what we used to call Automobile Row.
Okay. Yep.
That's where all the dealers used to be. There's still some there, but the dealers have really spread out to all points of
Yeah.
the county, in the area. But it used to be if you wanted to buy a car, you went to West Genesee
Yep.
Street to buy a car. So the buildings and in fact, this building at one point was a dealership. So the buildings have been repurposed. This was used for an office building for coincidentally a woman who provided services in the housing industry,
Wow.
and she did a beautiful job renovating it. It's basically all on one story except for one office up above, which I would say was probably the manager's office for the
Oh, wow.
dealership, where he or she could oversee everything that was
I see.
blocks from downtown Syracuse. It has over 9,000 square feet with over 7,000 square feet available in it for lease. You can also purchase the building.
Wow.
It has the woman who owns the building has fabulous taste, and she has upgraded it. And she upgraded it in 2022 and 2023 also. Gorgeous conference room, kitchen, an open area that you could use for cubicles if you wanted to, or displays if you were, let's say, a manufacturer's rep
Wow.
or something like that. 9 individual offices, all good size. It is and very importantly, a lease with Verizon with over 20 years left on it. And there's a tower in the back of the building, big tower.
So they got a cell phone tower
They
on
have
the
a cell
property.
phone tower on the
Gotcha.
property. And they also use about a little less than 2,000 square feet of space that they don't really need anymore. When they originally leased it,
Oh, really?
they needed the space for their equipment, but
I
equipment
see.
has really gotten smaller.
Oh, that's interesting.
So they still have a big tower in the back, but all the support and the electronics for it are inside. And I think they would probably renegotiate that if someone wanted to buy the building and they needed more space.
That's
Right
wild.
now, it's connected to a lease. They would not be obligated to do
Sure.
so. But I think that they would because it would decrease their lease. But on the flip side, it's very good money sitting there, very passive. They pay their own utilities,
It's great.
and so it's an excellent tenant. I have a couple of listings that have cell towers on them, and
Oh,
it's just
wow.
a nice extra income to
Yeah.
come in. They don't bother anybody.
It's kind of like
They're not busy.
almost like a billboard sort of thing, right?
Yes.
Those type of passive,
Right.
not a
Really-
tenant traditionally, but
I mean, I think if someone comes there once a month, it would be a lot.
yeah,
You know,
cool.
because they can operate so much of this
Sure.
remotely now, and they pay a share of the taxes, and
Oh, wow.
that's a nice addition to the building.
Yeah.
The seller slash landlord is motivated. She's ready to
Gotcha.
dispose of her real estate. She's retired for the most part, and we're asking $1,550,000 for the building, which is
Wow.
$158 a square foot, and you can't build it for that.
Yeah.
And it's gorgeous, and or a very reasonable lease price.
Yeah.
She loves not for profits too. So if
I mean, that's a
not for profit looking for
that's
space, it'd be great.
prime spot downtown.
Prime spot. And if you need more parking than is there, you can lease the parking lot next door that's not really being used. You're 2 blocks to 690.
Yeah.
There's restaurants along the way, to almost cross Escata Street.
Yep.
As reference points, and again, you're just minutes to downtown.
Real close to Dinosaur. I know that's everybody's top
Very
priority.
close to Dinosaur. I mean, basically, you turn where Dinosaur is and
Yeah.
continue on Genesee Street.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
that
great.
you can probably smell Dinosaur from there.
That's I don't know if that's a selling point or a detractor. Sometimes it's
I don't know. I remember
I don't want to be hungry all the time.
bringing lunch to my office, and I thought I was going to get mugged with my Dinosaur
I believe it.
bag in my hand. It was a big old bag, but
You smell it coming from down the road.
they did. I think if you're not hungry and you smell it, you're now hungry.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's my listing of the month.
Awesome.
Love to feature one every month when we're talking.
Awesome. Well, Christine, before we wrap up today, I just want to throw a quick little plug for you.
Thank you.
You've got an event that I'm looking forward to tomorrow where you're going to tell some folks about the commercial real estate industry. Can you just give us just a quick little blast on what that is? And probably next time we'll let you recap it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, tomorrow I'm going to meet with probably 30 or so business people in the area, and we're going to talk about commercial real estate. Should you rent or should you buy? Should you lease or should you buy? And also we're going to have a discussion about investment properties
That's great.
and, outside of where your offices are. And I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm also very happy to talk to any groups about such things.
I love it. I love that. The education piece, just exactly what we're doing here. So many things that, like you said, I've been into real estate for I don't know how long, and I still learn all kinds of crazy things all the time. So
And I do
Love it.
too. The other day I looked something up. I
Yeah.
didn't know, and I said, "Oh, that's interesting." It turned out it was a New York City expression, and we don't really use it in upstate New York.
they're in their own world.
It's a different world, and I thought, "Oh, geez, I should know that." And then I found out that everybody else I was working with didn't know it either.
Yeah.
I didn't feel so bad, but you always learn. I've been in this business since birth practically, and I still learn every day.
Yeah. No, that's what makes it interesting, right?
It does. Oh, it would. Yes, absolutely.
Be insane if it was just the same
Right.
in and out.
That's why I do what I do, because it's different every day.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's fun. I love it. Christine, what else we got going on in future podcasts? What can people look forward to here?
Well, I'm going to have some very good guests, I believe. And we're going to talk more about what's going on in the marketplace, where we see the next 10 years.
Love it.
Ryan Benz is going to join us. I've asked some other investors in the area to join us as to really why are they investing in this marketplace. And I want to bring in some people who are new to the marketplace too. Yes, why did you invest?
I love
And,
that.
and see what they have to say for us.
Yeah. No, that's wonderful. I love it.
Thank you.
Everybody should like, follow, share all of Christine's socials. You see the videos come through the feed. Maybe even listen to the podcast already. You heard what she's going to say, but you see the video in your feed. Hit that little like, hit that share button. That helps Christine immensely. If any of this information has been of value to you, that's how you can thank her right there. So just spread the good word. And Christine, we're so happy to have you and to make this awesome podcast. I love it.
Thank you, Mike. Matt, excuse me.
It's okay.
Can we edit that? Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes. And I would be happy to meet old school personally with people too.
Yeah,
I know we focus sometimes on the technology and the electronics,
sure.
but I think especially with real estate, there's really nothing like walking a property.
Yes.
And people will call me and say, what's your property value? What's the value of my property? And I can do research and tell you comps and that sort of thing, but you really have to touch it and feel it.
Yeah.
And I'm more than happy to meet with anybody at any time.
That's awesome. She's Christine. I'm Matt. This is the Details in the Deal. I think that's it.
It is. Thank you. We'll see
All
you
right.
next month.
See you next time.